Gary Black is giving a shout out to Tesla boomer mama this morning. He says that the lead Tesla story on Bloomberg tonight is, quote, Tesla investors sound off to judge who voided Musk's mega pay plan. So, as you may know, Tesla boomer mama has organized a letter writing campaign to send to the judge in the Delaware case, complaining about the decision that was made against the Elon Musk pay package. Unfortunately, her effort so far has been rebuffed, with the judge saying that they can't, she's not under the rules, she's not even allowed to read all the letters that were sent in from supposed stockholders. Well, Tesla boomer mama is not taking it laying down. She says this morning, I am seriously wondering whether we should organize a floral tribute to shareholders' rights at the steps of the Delaware Court of Chancery. And shows a big, a massive number of flowers being laid at the steps, and says that, she would send it along with a card that would say, with deepest sympathy for the loss of the rights of shareholders in Delaware. Anyway, this is Randy Kirk. If you like what we do here, if you get anything out of it, please hit the like button. It only takes a second. And then the other ways, of course, you can support the channel would be to subscribe, hit notify, and that'll help you to be reminded that later today, none other than Scott Walter will be here to talk about changes, things that are happening in the robot business that affect the Tesla bot, of course, Optimus. And then later on tonight, Jeff Lutz will join us on Good News Wednesday. Joining Patreon also helps the channel. You probably knew that. Maybe you could check it out down in the description below. Just hit the little button right there, right? You just hit it and it takes you right to Patreon, and you can sign up and support the channel. All right. Well, the other day, I said that all of the bad news about Tesla might be baked into the stock right now, and that several chartists are out there saying that this has really got to be pretty much a bottom right here, and there's real opportunity for the stock to go higher based on the charts. And I'm not a big chartist, so I'm just telling you what I saw other people saying. Don't know whether I agree or don't agree, because I don't really study it that carefully. However, the numbers for quarter one have not been looking great, and so the downgrades are starting to come in, and today they were pretty significant. In fact, as I opened up the news and started looking around this morning, pretty much that's all that was being talked about were the downgrades. And so we'll see what happens to the Tesla stock today in the face of that. Thus far, seems like down 4 would be the worst case scenario. Now, of course, there's a lot of day to go, and it's been fluctuating around between, say, down 2 and down 4. And in a few minutes, we'll at least take a look at where we are right this minute. Well, Investors Daily starts it out this way. It says, Tesla stock was handed a downgrade early Wednesday on expectations of a disappointing first quarter. Vehicle price cuts and pessimism are on the market for the EV giant's long-awaited next-generation offering. Man, these guys were negative, negative, negative. Here it goes. I'm going to tell you the whole story here. Wells Fargo downgraded Tesla to underweight, down from equal weight, Wednesday, and put a price target of 125, down from their original 200. The firm's underweight rating is equivalent to a sell rating, and its price cut represents a 30% downgrade. Wells Fargo expects Tesla unit volumes to disappoint as price cuts with its view that vehicle price cuts are having a diminished impact on demand. I agree with the fact that the price cuts are now having a diminished impact on demand. It's no longer going to be out to price cuts, Elon. I'm sorry, I got to say it out loud. The firm also wrote Wednesday that it believes that the economics of Tesla's next generation vehicle, widely known as the Model 2, not true, widely known as the next gen, are likely tough as a mass market compact vehicle. I think they don't know what the heck they're talking about. This comes after Everscore on Monday wrote that Tesla's new, cheaper vehicle may not ramp until 2027, with 500,000 units in 2026. I would consider 500,000 units in 2026 to be a ramp. I don't know about you. 100,000, if we're looking at Cybertruck this year, on the first year, between 75 and 100,000, most people are in that range. You're talking about 2026 doing 500,000 of the new vehicle wouldn't be considered a ramp? I'm very, very, very confused here. Tesla increasing its 2027 story, Evercore analyst wrote. I'm sorry, Tesla is increasingly, terribly, the way they write these things sometimes, Tesla is increasingly a 2027 story. No, Tesla is a 2026 story. I'll admit that. That doesn't mean that the numbers you're going to hear in a minute are true. But what it means is that, yeah, I think we'll have an okay year this year. We'll have a fine year in 2025, really a solid year in 2025. 2026 could be bonkers. Wedbush Securities analyst Dan Ives maintained his outperform rating with a 315 Tesla stock price target Wednesday. The longtime Tesla bull wrote he expects around 430,000 quarter one deliveries, well below Wall Street analysts 487, but that's coming down rapidly, as you'll see. The analyst noted that after just returning from a trip to Asia, it appears that many of the price cuts will be starting to subside into spring, summer 2024, which is good news. So he's saying, based on feet on the ground, the Tesla price cuts are not going to be as big a deal going forward. Ives wrote that the Tesla narrative is as negative as we have seen in the past few years, with Musk and Tesla getting attacked by the bears from all directions. We believe the stock is way overshooting on the negative front as the demand story for Tesla's more in stabilization mode heading to the rest of 2024, he said. Tesla shares fell more than 2% during pre-market action. As I just mentioned, on Tuesday, Tesla stock angled down 0.1%. Actually, as you heard yesterday, we're down like 32 during the day or 25 something, up the same amount or more in the after hours. With 2023 in the rearview mirror, analyst consensus now has 2024 Tesla earnings below 2023's level, signaling another year of negative growth for this growth stock. There's not a chance in the world that Tesla's earnings are going to be less than last year's earnings. I've just put that down, put my name next to it. Check me out come January of next year. Wall Street expects Tesla earnings per share of just $3.03 a share. According to FactSet, that would be more than a 2% decline over $3.12. FactSet is wrong. This is wrong. The energy division alone, the services division alone are going to be adding to the numbers, and they're certainly not going to be less gross profit from auto than this year when you're adding 75,000 cars from the new Cybertruck. Morgan Stanley Tesla bull Adam Jonas last week issued an investor note in which he cut his Tesla 2024 earnings projection by 25%, saying the EV giant could potentially lose money this year. That is a bad quote. He said the auto division could lose money this year, did not say that the company would lose money. Jonas slashed his Tesla price target to 320, down from 345, but maintained an overweight rating on the shares. Jonas also whittled down his Tesla 2024 EPS projections to $1.51. His previous view had been $2.04 a share, with auto gross margins, excluding regulatory credits, sinking to 11.4%. Yeah, we've already reported on that. I just wanted to repeat it based on this. Now, Barron's goes deeper into the Wells Fargo story. Tesla ain't looking so magnificent, wrote Langan. We expect volume to disappoint as price cuts are having a diminishing impact on demand. Lower deliveries and vehicle price drive our 2024 earnings per share estimate 32% below consensus. His numbers are jarring. Langan now projects only 1.8 million deliveries in 2024, essentially flat with 2023. He doesn't project any volume growth in 2025 compared with 2024. So he's looking at 2 flat years. It's just nonsense. It's just, there's no way in the world that this is how 2024 and 2025 are going to turn out. Cybertruck alone this year will ship 75 to 100,000. Next year, Cybertruck will ship 250,000. All of that is additional units. The Model 3, as you'll hear in a minute, is just getting overwhelmingly wonderful reviews. That I expect the Model 3 to start to make measurable increases in worldwide, all around the world. We're opening new countries, Laos and Cambodia and Chile, and Japan has a lot of room to grow. The Model 3 should do well there, on and on and on. You've heard it all before. Okay. As for sales, his 2024 and 2025 sales estimates are now about 91 billion and 96 billion respectively, down from prior projections of 102 and 118 billion and below the Wall Street consensus of 110 and 131. Tesla generated about 97 billion in 2023 sales. He's not even looking at anything else outside of cars, I guess. He's not even looking at Cybertrucks. He's not looking at semi. He's not looking at Optimus. He's not looking at full self-driving. He's not looking at energy. He's not looking at services, which the services we know it's going to be increasing because of just the charging stations alone. I don't know. It's just unbelievable. Langen's 2024 estimate for earnings per share is now $2, down from $2.40. The consensus call aggregated by FactSet is $3.03. Tesla generated adjusted EPS of $3.12 in 2023. His new 2025 EPS estimate is only $1.90, and the Wall Street consensus is $4.16. So Langen is going to be an outlier. All that, Langen says, makes Tesla a growth company with no growth. So Tesla stock, of course, is traded like a growth stock. Shares trade for almost 60 times estimated earnings. The S&P 500 trades closer to 20 times. Therefore, he would expect compression based on PE. Langen doesn't see much help coming from Tesla's lower price vehicle, which often called the Model 2. For starters, it takes too long to hit the roads. Profitability of compact vehicles can be a challenge too. Model 2 gross profits look low, he adds. How does he even, that doesn't even make sense. How does he know what it's going to cost? He doesn't know what the initial sales will be. It's not going to be a $25,000 car in the first year. In the first year, maybe first year and a half, it's probably going to be a $30,000 car. And then eventually, like we're seeing with the Cybertruck, eventually get down there. Cybertruck-inspired styling and competition also are concerns. Why would that be a concern? Cybertruck is doing extremely well. He isn't feeling very optimistic about Tesla stock. Langen did point out in his report that better than expected margins, faster than expected improvement in autonomous driving technology are two things that can make his call wrong. Has he thought about the fact that the Optimus robot expected to ship in 2025 and almost certainly will ship in 2025 can make him completely wrong? Overall, 36% of analysts covering the stock rate shares a buy. The average buy rating ratio for shares in the S&P 500 is up about 55%. The average analyst price target for Tesla stock is about $210 a share. A downgrade to sell from hold doesn't change the buy-seller ratio. Overall, 18% of analysts covering Tesla stock rate the shares a sell. So they got 55 rating it a buy, 18% a sell. The average sell ratio is about 7%. All right, let's move on to a different story. Futurist Ray Kurzweil tells Joe Rogan, AI will achieve human-level intelligence by 2029. He says, we're not quite there, but we will be there. And by 2029, AI will match any human. I'm actually considered conservative. People think it might happen this year or next year or the year after. Kurzweil goes on. I actually said this in 1999. I said we would match any person by 2029, so 30 years. That was in 1999. People thought I was completely crazy and that it would be a much longer, like 100 years. In fact, Stanford had a conference that invited several hundred people from around the world to talk about my prediction, and people thought that it would happen not by 2029. They thought it would take 100 years. AI will probably be smarter than any single human next year. By 2029, AI is probably smarter than all humans combined. Elon responded on X.com. AI will probably be smarter than any single human next year. And by 2029, AI, he's agreeing. He's saying by 2029, it'll be smarter than any human. Okay, this is from Andre Forfink. Andre Forfink. Tesla announced a wage increase for Giga Berlin employees and introduced a bonus system. Following Elon Musk's speech, plant manager at Andre T also addressed the employees, thanking them for their handling of the situation that just took place in Berlin with the attack on the power unit. This is an attack on the Gigafactory. He said, we stand together. Oh, his name is actually Andre Thierig. Also announced annual wage adjustments. You can count on that. A collective agreement is not required. Andre Thierig promised a bonus system and emphasized, you are doing great work. This from Alojoh. We've been quoting him a lot recently, haven't we? Alojoh on X. Tesla is the global #1 in terms of cash generation per vehicle sold in 2023. Let that sink in. #1 in terms of cash generation per vehicle sold in 2023. Not #1 among BEVs, not #1 among subclass. No, number one, period. This is a result of a review of all major automakers which have already provided cash flow disclosures for 2023. Okay, I get this. I have an individual who sends me an awful lot of stuff, and his name is R. Bremer. I've mentioned him before. He's sending me something this morning that I was unable to confirm, but he's extremely reliable. He's never sent me anything. I may not always agree with his opinions, but I never disagree with his facts. He says right now, it's one of those critical moments, those know it when you see it moments. He was talking about Sandy Munro, and he said that he reviewed the new Model 3 and had nothing negative to say, all positive. And then Sandy Munro says, that never happens. He says, Tesla is hitting its stride. So I couldn't find it. I couldn't find the quote. I looked everywhere. So if you saw that quote, would you put it in the information below? I quickly sent something back to R. Bremer to ask him where the quote was, but it was way too close to my going on. Starting the show, he wasn't able to get back to me in time. All right, let's take a look at where the stocks are right now. Let's see if Tesla is holding in there. Still down $4.18. That's about the low for the day at 173.36. That's with the NASDAQ down 86. So a part of that 418 is the NASDAQ. S&P is down 785, 7.56 right now, just changed. Dow Jones is up 56 this morning. Turning that into percentages, we have got the Dow up 0.14%, NASDAQ down 0.53%, S&P down 0.14%, and Tesla down 2.25%. Again, a multiple of the NASDAQ is more than the multiple that it normally has. So part of this is the downgrade and all the negative news. All right, we've got, but we'll see. We're going to see if that's going to hold up today. In fact, it's already curling up towards being more positive. So Apple down, Google up, Amazon up, Meta down, Microsoft down, and NVIDIA down 3.14%, continuing its slide. I want to change these to dollars again. So that would put NVIDIA down 28.82 at 890 this morning. Some people saying if it broke below 900, that would not be a good sign. I'm just reporting, again, I don't follow that side closely. I follow it, but not closely. All right, now let's go. All the Cathie Woods are actually up this morning. Now that's interesting, but I would call it more like break even to slightly up. So that's where Cathie Wood stocks are this morning. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the bonds. We have got the 10-year up 1.7 basis points this morning, 4.172, so holding well under my 4.25 max. We have got all the rest of the long bonds up roughly the same. 10-year just changed to 2.5 basis points. But everything else, the 2-year, for instance, up 1.4, but the 2-month is actually down this morning. That's interesting. A little compression of the inversion in both cases this morning. All right, let's go on to take a look at the oil patch. Oil this morning was up. It is up $1.95 at 79.51. Pressing against 80. I did read a couple of articles this morning saying that there is the inventories in the United States are down. There has been attacks by the against the Russian oil fields by the by the Ukraine. Ukraine has been attacking some oil facilities with drones in Russia. So that's probably having some small impact. I doubt if that's the big thing. The big thing is probably oil inventories dropping in the United States. Brent is up about the same amount as Texas Intermediate. Natural gas down 1.75% at a 168. So that's pretty significant. Now here was one. Okay, the dollar steadyish, a little up, a little bit up. But now copper this morning breaking through $4. So up 2.2%. It's been up on a regular basis. That's an interesting one. That's Larry's his particular canary in the coal mine. That would suggest the economy is doing better We should look at all the commodities. Maybe by the time I talk to Jeff tonight, I will have looked at the commodities to see if there's a general increase. Gold, of course, is up $4.40 though. So, but it's hanging in there at its high. Silver up this morning also. Then we've got the Bitcoin sitting at 72,284. That's up 843 this morning. I think that's reversing roughly what it was down yesterday, but that's a guess. And then that's it. Let's go back and take a look real quick at Tesla. Continues to be down $4.14. I think if it ended up down 4 for the day, that would probably be considered a win, quite frankly, given all the bad news. All right, let's see. We have got yesterday, Brian White discussing Optimus. Today, we've got Scott Walter coming on discussing Optimus. Yesterday, Brian White and I talked more about all the competition and how there's this coming together. This company's doing great on this and another company's doing great on something else. Everybody's watching what's going on. This is a very weird deal. And then later today, again, Scott Walter will come on and he's going to talk about 2 or 3 of those companies and what is going on in terms of some of the details of what they're about. So you might want to go back and look. Here's the card from yesterday for Brian White, and then hit the notify so you can be reminded about Scott Walter coming on later today. And then Jeff Lutz, of course, in the afternoon. I've got a surprise guest maybe on Friday. Don't you want to know who that is? Hit notify so you don't miss it. But yeah, I think we've got a surprise guest. If he doesn't come Friday, he'll be coming soon after that, I'm sure. But that's my goal right now, is for Friday. All right, let's see. Have you joined Patreon? That would be a big help. You know, I want to sign up to get the regular report from Trueflation. Right now, I'm paying 0 for Trueflation. I'm getting a lot of data, but they do have a next level up. I think it's $19.95 or $29.95 a month. It would be really cool if a few of you would step up on Patreon, say 3 people at the $10 level or 6 at the 5 or some combination like that. That would help me pay for that. You know, I've got a lot of expenses. I pay 2 people full-time in the Philippines, 2 full-time that are helping me produce this show, helping me produce the show that I'm doing with Brian Wong over on his Next Big Future channel. They're helping with that one as well, and also helping me with my other businesses. But you can imagine there's a lot of expense in paying 2 people full time. So helping me out on Patreon would be a phenomenal thing to do to help underwrite all this programming that you're getting for free, unless you're helping on Patreon. And thank you so much to the many folks who are helping out. All right, that's all I got. See you a couple of times later today. It has been great talking to you.